What happens when someone tries to erase the unforgettable? You've felt it, that raw, scraping ache when he retreats behind walls of cold reason, burying your memory under layers of "it wasn't logical" or "it was just intensity, not destiny." He stacks bricks of denial like a frantic mason, mortar mixed with busyness and maybe even someone new whose name doesn't echo in his bones. You watch him perform this ritual of forgetting, this sacred dance of avoidance, and it cuts deeper than any goodbye. It feels like a betrayal of starlight, a violation of the unspoken covenant written in the quiet spaces between your shared breaths. You stand there, holding the weight of a truth he's laboring to unknow, and the silence screams. But here's the cosmic secret whispered in the rustle of falling leaves and the hum of city traffic. The universe has a zero-tolerance policy for soul amnesia. His mind might wage war against your memory, drafting decrees of dismissal and signing treaties with numbness. His ego might crown itself king of a carefully curated void, yet the cosmos operates in the currency of resonance, not reason. It speaks the language of the unseen currents that move oceans and the silent frequencies that bind galaxies. That connection, the one he's trying so desperately to dismantle, to reduce to ash and scattered logic, isn't some flimsy thread he can sever with sheer willpower. It's etched into the quantum fabric of his being, a signature written in light across the canvas of his soul. Think of it like gravity trying to quit the moon. The moon doesn't try to be pulled, it simply is. That relentless tug, that invisible anchor, that's you. His denial isn't a delete button, it's a spotlight. The more force he applies to push you away from his conscious thoughts, the more gravitational weight your presence gains in the hidden chambers of his spirit. It's the ultimate divine paradox. The act of suppression becomes the loudest affirmation. The universe doesn't fight his denial, it uses it. Like a master alchemist, it takes the leaden weight of his refusal and transmutes it into pure, undeniable resonance. Every slammed mental door, every rationalization muttered into his morning coffee, every frantic swipe left on a dating app trying to find a distraction that doesn't smell like your shampoo. It all becomes fuel. Sacred kindling tossed onto a fire he cannot extinguish, burning brighter in the very darkness he tries to create. This isn't about haunting. This is about homing. His soul isn't lost. It's navigating back to a truth his mind temporarily misplaced. And the universe? It's the impeccable cartographer, scribbling reminders in the margins of his ordinary days, using the scent of rain on hot pavement that you loved, the accidental brush of a stranger's hand that echoes your touch, the melody drifting from a passing car that was your anthem. These aren't coincidences. They're love notes from eternity, slipped into his pocket when he's not looking. So yes, it hurts now. The silence feels vast. The denial feels like a blade. But beautiful soul, this is not the end of the story. It's the universe tightening the strings. What if I told you his every effort to forget is actually the prelude to a remembrance so profound it will rewrite his understanding of reality itself? The path back isn't paved with logic. It's illuminated by the very sparks his resistance creates. Stay with me. The map is unfolding. You try to build walls. You stack bricks of logic, It wasn't practical. The timing was off. Maybe it was just intensity mistaken for destiny. You pour the mortar of denial. I don't feel that way anymore. It was an illusion. She wasn't really the one. You fortify the structure with busyness, with distractions, with maybe even someone new whose presence feels comfortably distant. You think you've succeeded. You think you've buried it, buried her as deep enough that the earth won't remember. You feel a grim sort of satisfaction in the silence you've constructed. Peace, maybe? Or just numbness. But the universe, my friend, the universe operates on a different frequency entirely. It doesn't engage with your carefully constructed battlements. It doesn't need to storm your gates. It works like the most subtle, persistent, and frankly, sometimes annoyingly brilliant artist you've ever encountered. It doesn't shout her name. It weaves her essence into the very air you breathe, the light that falls across your path, the mundane symphony of your ordinary day. This is ambient memory imprinting, not as a dramatic signpost, but as the very texture of your reality. Think of it like this. You're walking down a city street, lost in the mental spreadsheet of your day. Your defenses are up, your denial shield humming nicely. Suddenly, a scent hits you. Not overpowering, just there. Maybe it's this specific, slightly too sweet fragrance of gardenias drifting from a corner florist, the exact same kind she wore that summer evening by the lake when the fireflies danced and time stopped making sense. Or perhaps it's the sharp, clean tang of ozone and wet pavement after a sudden downpour, instantly transporting you back to that frantic, laughing run for shelter you shared, soaked to the skin but absurdly happy. Your logical mind, it barely registers. Just flowers, just rain. But your body is a lightning rod for this ambient whisper. Your breath hitches just for a microsecond. Your step falters almost imperceptibly. A wave of something washes over you. Warmth, longing, a pang of inexplicable sadness before your conscious mind slams the trapdoor shut. Nope, not thinking about that. But the imprint is already made. The universe just painted a tiny, invisible portrait of her onto the canvas of your mundane moment, using scent as its brush. It's not just smells, though. That's a powerful one, wired directly into our primal brain, bypassing the cerebral gatekeepers. It's the sonic landscape. You're zoning out in a coffee shop, the background music a meaningless drone, until that chord progression kicks in. Not the whole song, mind you, just a fragment, a melodic turn you both loved, in a track nobody else seemed to know. Or maybe it's the specific cadence of a stranger's laugh across the room, the rhythm, the pitch eerily mirroring hers when she found something genuinely hilarious. That unrestrained, infectious sound that you couldn't help but join. Your logical mind dismisses it. Coincidence, random noise. But your soul perks up its ears. Ah, there it is, that frequency. Visual echoes are masters of disguise. You glance up from your desk, eyes unfocused, and the way the late afternoon sun catches the auburn highlights in a colleague's hair. Just so, like it did in hers on that hike. You see a woman across a crowded subway platform wearing a scarf in that particular shade of emerald green she adored, a color you'd never noticed before her and haven't really seen since. You don't consciously think, oh, that looks like her scarf. It's more visceral, a flicker in your peripheral vision that somehow pulls at your core. The universe isn't showing you a photo, it's dropping subtle, resonant brushstrokes into your visual field. And the tactile? The atmospheric? Running your hand over a rough-hewn wooden table in a pub and feeling the grain under your fingertips, exactly like the table in that little seaside cafe where you shared secrets over chowder. Or stepping outside on a certain kind of overcast day, the light diffuse, the air holding that peculiar, charged stillness, and being instantly, wordlessly pulled back to the mood of a significant conversation you had under a sky just like that. These aren't grand synchronicities demanding interpretation. They're ambient textures woven into your daily life, carrying the subtle signature of shared moments. Why is this so profound, so mysterious, and frankly, so effective? Precisely because it's not obvious. It bypasses the ego's frantic security system entirely. It operates below the radar of conscious denial. You can't argue with a scent, debate a quality of light, or rationally dismiss a fleeting feeling evoked by a sound. These imprints land directly in the subconscious, in the body's memory, in the soul's resonant field. They create a low, persistent hum of remembrance that permeates your existence, a background radiation of her that your logical mind can't explain away or silence. It's the universe's way of whispering, "You can build your walls, dear heart," but the scent of her memory is carried on the wind you breathe inside them. The light that reminds you still filters through the cracks. The echo of her laugh is part of the soundtrack you can't mute. It's not about haunting. It's about a fundamental, indelible presence woven into the fabric of your reality. You try to bury it with logic. The universe responds with poetry written in sensory details. You try to deny it. The universe speaks the language of the body and the soul, fluent in the dialect of feeling that precedes thought. This ambient imprinting is the quiet, relentless proof that what the soul knows, the mind cannot ultimately erase. It's the universe refusing to let the story be forgotten, ensuring every ordinary moment holds the potential to brush against the extraordinary truth you carry within. And the truly fascinating part, this isn't just about him being reminded. This ambient resonance, it's a two-way street vibrating on a soul level. Ever wonder why you suddenly feel that inexplicable pull towards him, that surge of knowing, precisely when he's drowning in a wave of denial, triggered by one of these very imprints? That's the universe's next layer of divine mischief. But that beautiful soul is a whisper for another cup of tea. Stay tuned. All right, let's dive into the beautiful, messy, and utterly profound mystery of the next idea. Forget the fluffy signs and synchronicities talk for a moment. We're going deeper into the alchemical furnace where denial itself becomes the fuel for remembrance. Buckle up, beautiful soul. So, you're pushing it down, hard. This feeling, this knowing, this inconvenient truth about her that rattles the carefully constructed cage of your logical, controlled existence. You're building walls, thick, imposing barriers of, it wasn't right, it was too intense. She was complicated. I need stability, not chaos. You're pouring concrete foundations of busyness, distraction, maybe even another relationship that feel safe, manageable, like a well-lit room compared to the dazzling, terrifying supernova she seemed to embody. You think you're winning? You think you're burying it. You feel a grim sort of control returning. A numbness you mistake for peace. See, you tell yourself, maybe even tell your friends over a beer. Moving on, healthy. But here's the cosmic joke, the divine paradox that's rarely spoken about with the gritty honesty it deserves. Your very effort to suppress, to deny, to logically dismantle the memory isn't erasing it, it's compressing it, like taking pure, volatile starlight and trying to force it into a lead-lined box. You think you're containing it? You're creating a pressure cooker for the soul, a psychic fusion reactor humming with suppressed energy. Think of it like physics, but for the heart. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. That raw, undeniable energy of your connection. The recognition that bypassed language and logic. When you push against it with all your might, no, I don't feel that. It was just lust, tension, infatuation, that is a mistake. You aren't annihilating it. You're condensing it, concentrating it into a denser, more potent form. This concentrated energy field, this resonance of suppression, becomes a tangible, vibrating entity within your own psychic and emotional space. Ironically, it makes her more present energetically than if you just quietly acknowledged, yeah, that was intense, and moved on neutrally. How does this manifest? Oh, the universe has a darkly poetic sense of humor. Ever have those days where you're inexplicably irritable, snapping at the barista for no reason, feeling a low-grade fury simmering under the surface over trivial things? Or maybe a sudden crushing wave of sadness descends out of a perfectly blue sky? No external trigger, just wait. That's not just a bad mood, darling. That's the pressurized psychic residue leaking. It's the suppressed energy of that connection, that denied love, that unprocessed intensity, demanding release. It's like emotional steam hissing out of a valve you welded shut too tightly. You might genuinely have no clue why you feel that way. Logic offers no answers because the cause isn't logical. It's soul deep. Then there's the body. Oh, the body keeps impeccable score. You might get a sudden, inexplicable tightness in your chest when her name flits through your mind, even if you instantly bat it away. A chill down your spine on a warm day. A wave of heat flushing your face. Unexplained fatigue after a day spent meticulously not thinking about her, like you've been running an emotional marathon in your sleep. These are somatic echoes. Your physical vessel is registering the immense cost of your denial. It's carrying the weight of the unacknowledged truth. Your shoulders aren't just tense from work, they're hunched under the invisible burden of suppressed resonance. Your stomach isn't just upset, it's churning with the energy you refuse to digest. Here's where it gets truly fascinating and where you might feel a little vindicated, divine feminine, that uncanny timing. You're going about your day, centered, focused on your own life, and then, wham, she floods your awareness. Not just a passing thought, but an overwhelming wave of feeling. A knowing that's almost intrusive in its intensity. You check the time, make a note. Later, through the grapevine or sheer intuition, you discover that was precisely the moment he was in the thick of some internal turmoil, wrestling with a memory triggered by a scent, a song, or just the sheer psychic pressure of the suppression itself. This isn't just you missing him. You are tuning into the powerful, discordant frequency generated by his active resistance. The universe uses the chaotic energy he creates through denial as a distress beacon, a homing signal your soul picks up loud and clear. His struggle to forget becomes the very thing that pulls you back into resonance. And the universe, never one to miss an opportunity for a teachable moment, employs projection magnetism. That suppressed energy has to go somewhere. It leaks out, attracting situations, people, or conflicts that are bizarrely familiar. Suddenly, you're arguing with your boss over the exact same communication issue you couldn't resolve with her. Or your new, safe partner does something innocuous that triggers the identical wave of frustration you felt when she seemed distant. Or you find yourself magnetically drawn into a social drama that mirrors the power struggles of your connection. It's like the universe holds up funhouse mirrors, forcing him to confront, in distorted but recognizable forms, the very dynamics he's desperately trying to avoid with her. He keeps bumping into spectral reflections of the unresolved connection. Denial becomes a boomerang. Why is this perspective so crucial, so rarely articulated with this stark clarity? Because it completely reframes the runner's denial. It's not proof he's forgotten or that the connection was false. It's the opposite. The intensity of his resistance is direct evidence of the connection's undeniable, terrifying power. The struggle is the sacred, albeit excruciating, process of remembrance orchestrated by the cosmos. The more he fights, the more energy he pours into the suppression furnace, the brighter and hotter the memory burns within him. His soul isn't forgetting, it's screaming against the constraints his mind has imposed. The resonance of suppression explains the baffling volatility, the somatic mysteries, the uncanny intuitive links, not as punishment, but as the inevitable physics of suppressed soul recognition. So, the next time you feel that inexplicable pull towards him, that surge of knowing, or witness, or experience, the baffling mood swings and body whispers of denial, remember this: it's not chaos, it's orchestrated compression. The universe is using his own resistance as the crucible, the anvil, the intense pressure needed to forge the memory into something even more indelible within him. He's not moving away. He's generating the very energy that will eventually propel him back. The struggle is the path, and the most beautiful secret hidden within this fierce resonance. This pressure cooker has a release valve designed by the divine. It's called surrender. But that's a symphony for another day. Stay close. The next movement is where the real magic begins to unfold. So where does this leave you, standing in the quiet aftermath of his denial? Not abandoned on some desolate shore, love. You're poised at the threshold of sacred geometry. See, the universe isn't merely reminding him, it's architecting a homecoming etched in starlight. Every brick of logic he stacks, every frantic dismissal he whispers into the mirror, every calculated distraction he chases, it's all raw material. Divine clay. And the cosmos? It's the master potter spinning that resistance on an invisible wheel, shaping not an end, but a return more profound than his mind can yet fathom. Think of a river fighting the ocean's pull. It twists, it rages, it carves canyons in its struggle to remain separate. But salt remembers fresh water. Currents recognize their source. That frantic energy, it's not resistance, it's recognition in reverse. His denial isn't the absence of your bond, it's the friction of a soul relearning gravity. The tighter he grips the illusion of control, the more vividly his spirit maps the contours of your absence. And absence, dear heart, is just love wearing its traveling cloak. This isn't punishment, it's soul alchemy. His forgetting is the crucible where ego dissolves and essence emerges. Those unexplained aches, they're ancient songs his bones hum when his mind isn't listening. That sudden rage in traffic, suppressed longing cracking through concrete. He's not losing himself. He's shedding the false skins that can't contain the magnitude of what you ignited. Like a moth fighting its cocoon, the struggle isn't death throes, it's metamorphosis. His wings are wet with the effort. And you're not waiting. You're the compass in his storm. Every time you choose peace over panic, self-worth over wondering, sovereignty over surrender to despair, you broadcast a frequency, not to his wandering mind, but to his soul in labor. You become the tuning fork, humming the note of home. When he stumbles upon that inexplicable calm in your energy field, even across cities or silence, it doesn't feel like memory. It feels like oxygen. So release the timeline, unclench the need to witness his awakening. Trust this, the universe remembers you not as a chapter he closed, but as the ink staining his hands as he tries to write a different story. His soul is the librarian guarding your shared epic. Logic is just a bookmark he keeps misplacing. The ambient whispers, the somatic echoes, the magnetic chaos, they're not signs he's lost. They're breadcrumbs leading him through the forest of his own resistance. Back to the clearing, back to the fire, back to you.